So part of multifamily that people struggle with is funding deals. So I'll give you a process of how you should go about funding your deals and think about funding your deals to make it a lot simpler. So the first step would be find a typical market deal for where you're looking. Find an average deal in your market. Um, so right here, I found one in Hanover, PA. It's a 4 unit. If you see down here, quadruplex, and it's going for $349,000. So you want to find if you're looking to 3 to 6 unit properties, maybe you want to find your typical 4 or 5 unit property by price, and then kind of run your numbers that way. So you kind of know what you want to do at first is find out how much you're going to need for a typical deal. So that way you can plan ahead of time to have that ready to go. So then when you find your first deal, you can pull the trigger and you're not too worried about finding money for the deal. It's already kind of lined up. So the property here, 4 unit property, $349,000. So the next thing that you'll need to do is calculate what capital will be needed to take down that deal. So I have that broken down here. You look at purchase price at 349. Let's just say, for example, you're getting a loan for 75% loan to value. That means the loan's going to be 75% of the purchase price. So you'll be required to bring that other 25% as a down payment. If you do a quick calculation for about 5% of the purchase price in closing costs, and then for this property, we'll just assume all 4 units, you're going to put renovation on them for $10,000 a unit. So mid-level renovation, that's another $40,000 that you'll need. And then for other improvement or costs, we just put in $10,000 there. So that could be if you're putting in rainy day funds, which is a good thing to do for your deal, putting aside money so that if something goes wrong or costs are a little bit higher than you think, you have that money and you don't need to go out and find another $5,000 or $10,000. Or that could just be some other renovation that you're planning on doing when you take over the property. So just by this example, you're looking at $154,700 that you will need to take down this property. So the next step would be then finding where you're going to find that money from. So when you're looking at where you're going to find available funds, the first thing you're going to look at is what's available to you. What do you currently have? So that could be savings, your money in your bank that you've been saving up for a while that you're ready to put into a deal. Maybe that could be an investment account. So that could be a 401k or something like that, where you can pull some money out of or use that money to invest in an investment property with. Could you refinance maybe your personal home, or if you do have another rental property, could you refinance that and pull some capital there? That could be an option. A home equity line of credit is another great option. They're usually pretty good terms and rates, but basically you're pulling equity out of your home as a line of credit instead of refinancing it. Could you get a personal loan? Traditionally, these will be a little bit higher percentage rates, but if that's what you got to do to take down a deal, it might make sense as long as the deal is going to cash flow and pay you back and pay off that loan. So what do you first you want to look at? What do you have? And then you want to start digging into what other sources of capital that you can have. So other sources of capital would be family and friends would be first. These are the easiest. These are the people that you have the best relationship with. They will trust you the most. So they're usually a great group of people to go to first. And then you could look at stuff like finding investors or doing a syndication. So just finding investors in the deal, or if you're looking at larger properties, you can do something where you're doing a syndication where you're the GP or general partner. You're bringing on people that are investors or LPs, limited partners, and you're essentially just raising money for the deal. But there's a lot more that goes into that, and you got to have a larger property for it to make sense to do that. A great way, though, was kind of the same concept, but partnering or JVing on a property. So this would just be bringing other people to the deal, maybe two, maybe 3 people to the deal to get that deal done. So smaller scale, partnering with 1, 2, 3 people. So another partner maybe brings capital to the deal. Another partner maybe has some sort of skill set that they can bring to the deal. Maybe they can manage the deal for you, something like that. So you're just partnering with a couple people because you're not big enough to start raising money to do a syndication. Or could you, for this property, as the owner, have the property paid off and maybe they're willing to do some sort of seller financing that could bring the amount that you need down significantly, or maybe even they could contribute to the deal in some sort of agreement, and you pay them back, vastly bringing down the amount that you need to the deal. So that's another option. But if you're going an investor route, there's a couple ways to do that. The first thing that you'll want to do is create an offering or sample deal package. So this even works for if you're partnering. But find an example deal, like you said, like I said earlier, if you're looking maybe up to 6 units, maybe find a 6 unit deal, and basically put an example together of a business plan of what you would do to that, including numbers, including the type of renovations you're going to do, what type of returns you're going to potentially get. And this is just going to be an example of a real deal, but with numbers that you basically made up to make it so it's going to look like the typical deal that you would pitch to them. That way they can see, what it's traditionally going to look like if you do come to them with a deal, and they invest with you. So that's a key thing to do. You want to nail down your strategy and business plan. We touched on this before, but you really want to know what sort of properties you're looking at, what you're going to like, what sort of renovations you're going to do, how bad are these properties that you're going to be taking over to do a value add to, and what are your select areas. So you really need to know those things, because you're going to be pitching that to investors. If you know your market well, you can say, these are the reasons why we're investing in this market. This is why we're investing in these, rundown assets. This is what gives us an advantage over other investors in the area, that kind of thing. So you need to nail that down so then you can then pitch that to the investors. But some places you can meet investors, real estate meetups are great. You can meet other actual investors, like real estate investors, people that are investing, but also that can give you contacts to people that want to put money in deals and are looking for people that are actively finding deals and working on them. And they just want to be, a big money player, but want you to do most of the work. So that could be a good place to find people. Social media, if you're posting informational content about what you're doing, you might be able to attract investors that way. Places that you frequent, this is one of my favorite ones. Any hobbies that you have, if you go to like the church, or gym, the gym's a good one, church is a good one, because there's going to be people there that are frequently there, that see you often. You have the same kind of values as them. So they already have some level of kind of attachment to you, or they feel like they know you because they see you frequently, and they'll trust you a little bit more than they would if you're just a random person coming up to them. So, and whatever you're doing that you enjoy to do, hobbies that you frequent, that's a good place to meet people that could be potential investors. I know I used to play basketball, and that would be a great way to meet different people that would invest in my deals. So any referrals from family, friends, or others close to you is great as well. The family and friends can invest in a deal, but maybe they know people that are looking to get into real estate or are looking to just invest some money. That could be a good tool for you. And then once you get your investor list, there's a couple things you want to do. You want to keep the list active and reach out to these people on a schedule. However you want to plan that out, but make sure you're touching base. Hey, are you still looking to invest? Just following up. This is where we're at with potential deals in the pipeline. And then you want to treat, when you do get some deals, you want to treat partners and investors well. If you're, structuring a deal, the first couple of deals, it might be best to give other people a little extra bonus over what you're going to take from the profits, because that'll pay dividends down the road. They'll be wanting to come back to you, invest in your future deals. And then if you do really good on returns, they're going to use you and tell their friends about you, so you could potentially get more investors that way by that just word of mouth. Hey, he got me these great returns on this last property. I'm going to invest with him again. Would you want to invest? So that's a great way to do that. So then when you just kind of put it all together, let's say you got $50,000 in your personal savings account, and you're looking at the smaller deals. So you're going to partner on a deal, and you're looking for a partner that's going to bring 104,000 to this deal. You're going to split it 50-50. Maybe you got an agreement that you're going to do a significantly large amount of work in addition to you found the deal, so that is an added value as well. and they're going to bring more capital to the deal, but you're going to split it 50-50. I know on a property that I partnered with before, what we did was the one person brought more money to the table. Um, we did the split. We found the deal, but one of the agreements was when we refinanced the property, we paid them back all their capital first, no matter what, and then if there's money to pay us back our capital that we put in, we did that secondary. So they were getting paid back first, a little added bonus there, and security, and we split it 50-50. So you'll want to basically do this for a potential deal, so you have that prepared. The deal might come along where you need a little bit more than this, or maybe a little bit less, but if you have basically an average of what you're going to need for a deal already laid out, it's going to make your job a lot easier when you're going to take down that deal. A lot less stress. And where are you going to scramble to find this money? If you have this kind of stuff lined up, you're going to be successful. So that's kind of how you should look at funding a deal. Join me on the next one.